Hey there, thank you so much for joining me today. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to write an influencer mission statement. So let me know if you're here. Say hi in the comments. Would love to know who's joining me live. If you guys have never connected with me before, my name is Gwen Lane, and I'm the founder of the Spark Society, an online membership community for influencers. We have over 1,000 active members who get access to courses, coaching, and community so that they could grow their audience and monetize through brand sponsorships and other revenue streams. So welcome to the Spark Show. In this episode, I'll be talking about how to write an influencer mission statement. Now, I'm super excited to talk about this today because I think most influencers don't really pay attention or focus enough on their brand. They're busy with creating content and focused on growth and monetization, but what they don't realize is that you can't have a successful influencer business in place if you don't have a solid foundation. So let me check the comments. We have Alexis here, Angel Love, Christina, Paris. Hi, thank you guys for joining me. So let me know if that sounds familiar, that you haven't really focused on your brand, but you know that to run a successful influencer business or any business in general, brand is actually super important, but it's the thing that kind of stays on the back burner of everyone's minds because people don't see the results right away, so they don't really spend the time to do it, when I think it's definitely one of the most important things. So I'll cover more about what to do with your brand a little bit later, but just wanted to check in with everyone. Hey Sarah, hi Gianna, how are you guys? Thank you guys for joining in. So let me know if you feel like you haven't really worked on your brand and it's something that you're kind of really not really clear about and you don't really know what to do. So we're going to be talking about that today. So when I said earlier a solid foundation in place, this is what I call the ABCs of influence. And so I'm going to talk about the ABCs of influence, and that the influencer mission statement is all a part of that, and I can't really just talk about the statement without talking about the ABCs. So let's get started. A is for audience. So the most important thing about having any business is the audience that you serve, right? It doesn't matter if you have an audience of 10 or 10 million, you have to know who your audience is. And it goes deeper than the basic demographics, age, gender, location. You really need to get into the details. So I know so many influencers that don't even spend the time looking at their analytics. They just keep posting, but they're not really looking at the data or testing their content to see which is doing well, not based on what they like or what they think is doing well, but based on real engagement numbers. So let me do a check-in, real talk, honesty check-in in the chat. Who has not really spent the time looking at their analytics or really digging deep to their audience? Put an emoji or raise your hand in the chat, because I've done it as well. Like in the beginning, I never really paid attention to my analytics. I never really had time. And then I was just doing so many things that I really wasn't taking the time to kind of look at my analytics, see what content was doing well. And when we're not doing that, we're not really looking at the results and we're not really measuring. We're just posting, and hopefully it works. And that's not a strategy, right? That is not a strategy. So I see Alexis, Nivea, Stephanie. Right. So many people. So I just want to have you write that, because the first thing is awareness, right? The first thing to any sort of change or improvement or progress is awareness. If you're not aware that you're not even doing that, or you're not aware that that's important, or you are aware maybe, but you haven't realized why it's important and why you need to spend time doing it. Okay. So I know a lot of influencers say they get stuck on what to post and what to do. Does that sound like you? you? If it does, let me know in the chat. So a lot of influencers say they get stuck on what to post or what to do, but they have an audience right there that they can ask and survey. And big brands, if you look at big brands, they're always serving their audiences and customers. And so if you want to treat this like a real business, then you also should be getting as much data as possible from your audience, right? So whenever I buy something from a company, they always send me feedback or an audience or a survey email. So they always ask me for feedback or send me a survey email because they're always wanting to know me as a customer so that they can improve and learn from what I have to say. So this is exactly what we dive into in the Spark Society. So shout out to the members. Let me know, any members out here. If you are a member of the Spark Society, you get access to courses that goes deep into the ABCs of influence. So you have to go through the trainings and the modules because no one is going to do that work for you, but you have access to my guidance and my coaching in there. And so we always start with audience because it's the most important thing of having an influencer business, because with no audience, you have no one to influence, right? And it's really not about how big your audience is. What matters is how engaged they are. A lot of brands would rather work with influencers with a higher engagement rate rather than with someone with a lot of followers but low engagement. So again, if you are a member of the Spark Society, we do walk you through audience and how to survey and how to go through your analytics and what to look for, so you're no longer confused and stuck on what you're supposed to do, because your audience actually helps you and guides you on what to post and what you should be looking for. Amazing. So the next part of the ABCs of influence is B, which is branding. This is where a lot of influencers get stuck and really don't spend time on, because branding is super important because it what sets you apart from everyone else. So if you think of the reason why you buy from the brands you buy from, most of the time it's not because it's the best product out there. It might be, but a lot of products are actually made from the same manufacturer, but you choose a certain one because of your connection to the brand. So you choose a brand mostly of its backstory. You like the person, the founder, the owners, or the causes that they support. You choose a brand because it aligns with your own core values. So you really need to take the time to create these branding elements, because if you're not talking about this to your audience, there's no connection, right? They're not going to be able to connect with you on a deeper level if you're not talking about these things. So let me know in the chat, why do you buy the brands that you buy? Is it because they align with your core values? It's because it's easy, it's convenient, they ship for free? Like, what are the things? So this gets you kind of starting to think about, what does your brand offer? Because you have to start thinking of yourself as a brand. This is like the biggest mistake that a lot of influencers make, is like, I'm not a brand, I'm just a person, I'm just an influencer. Well, as an influencer, you have a personal brand. And the minute you own that and you start acting like a brand, then other brands are going to start to want to partnering with you, and other people are going to start wanting to follow you because they relate to you on a certain level. So Alexis has only been a member for about 2 weeks, and I love it. So worth it. It eliminates the guesswork. Exactly. Thanks, Alexis, for being a member of the Spark Society. So happy you're there. Okay, so first of all, you really have to start thinking about that. Like, why do we buy from the brand? So Sarah says sustainability and social justice are values I look for in a brand. So it's the same thing with your followers. There are millions of people out there that they can follow, but why would they follow you, right? And if you do talk about the sustainability and social justice, that is also important to you. And so it's really important that you create your brand and write everything out and have all these elements in place so that people can have that strong connection, so that they will connect and engage with you. So most of the time when people say brand or branding, they think, I need a logo and I need a design and a website. Who's guilty of this? I am too. This is what I thought a brand was, but really it's not that, right? A lot of that is actually temporary, and you could change that. You could have a new logo every month. Been there, done that, don't do that. And you can change that, upgrade, and it will even evolve over time. But what's really important is when I talk about branding is these three things. So one is defining your core values as a brand, which is usually the same as your personal core values. For example, our core values for Spark is abundance, impact, and freedom. And I share this a lot throughout our whole content strategy, right? And so I talk a lot about abundance, meaning there's enough for everyone. You know, brands pay photographers and production companies, so why wouldn't they pay influencers? And I talk a lot about impact, right? The whole point of influencing is to impact, not to, be famous, not to get free stuff, not to just make money. Money is great. Money also makes an impact, right? If you make a lot of money, you're able to give to causes that you care about. You're not able to make an impact, right, if you're not making any money, right? Because then you're worried about paying the bills. And then our last core value is freedom. I believe in doing things you love while getting to do things you love and having the time to enjoy that, whether it's to travel the world, to be your own boss, to work as much as you want or as less as you want, right? Because some of us, like, we feel like we're doing a lot, and we are, but until you get to a certain point, you have to kind of set yourself up so that you can work the schedule that you want, right? So this is weaved in throughout everything, especially our content. So it's also important. The second thing that you want to do with your branding, the first one is to define your core values. The second one is to write out your brand story. So everyone has a story. Don't ever say like it's boring. Like we watch reality shows. I'm sure the people in it think it's boring. It's their general life, but most people are like addicted because we love seeing what's going on in other people's lives. That's why people follow people on Instagram, right? To see what they're doing in their normal life, right? Some people call it the origin story, and it's how you ended up where you are now and what you're doing in your daily life. Everyone goes through a journey, and that is what is actually unique about you, is your journey. And when you share that with your audience, they connect with you on a deeper level because usually they are like, oh, I didn't know that about this person. I think that's cool too. Or I've went through that too. Or, oh, now that I know this backstory, I am actually feel closer to this person. And so many influencers, I feel like they don't think that they should be sharing their story because they think it's boring or it's insignificant, but really people want to hear the story. So make sure that you write that out. And remember, it's the first draft. You're gonna write many, many drafts of this. Okay, let me just wait for this siren to stop so that hopefully I don't have to re-record this. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Okay. So once you've defined your core values and written out your brand story, you can now write out your influencer mission statement. So you see why I couldn't start with that, because you have to kind of start with the audience and then your core values and then your brand story, and then you get to your influencer mission statement. This is a sentence or a short paragraph that defines what your brand wants to accomplish. It's really important to spend time on this, and also don't think that you'll just work on it once and it's over, right? You want to think of your brand as a living, breathing entity that will change and grow over time. So whatever you come up with today may not be the same thing in a few months or next year. I can't tell you how many times my brand has changed. And it hasn't changed at the core because the values have been the same, but like the statement has changed, and I've revised a few words, and I've made it more, snazzy and stuff like that. So it's really important to revisit your brand every quarter or at least 1 to 2 times a year. A lot of the big brands, and I came from the entertainment world, they do this branding exercises like every month. They have a whole team doing this. So if you are the only person on your team, which a lot of influencers, they start as solopreneurs, like the only person on the team, then you just have to make time to do this, right? So your influencer mission statement is a way that will strongly communicate who your brand is for, what it's about, and what you're aiming to do. So for example, the Spark School, our influencer mission statement currently today is: we help impact-driven influencers build their brand, grow their following, and monetize their channels through our courses, coaching, and community. We provide support, inspiration, and encouragement so that influencers can create positive change while trusting themselves and knowing their worth. So as you can see, it's a little wordy. I'm going to keep refining it. I'm going to take stuff out, put stuff in, but that's just what it is today. And you see, I'm not going to stay stuck in overthinking and trying to fix it today, because that's not the focus today. This is like what drives the team, me and my team right now, on what we're doing, because it helps us figure things out and gives us clarity on how to move forward with our goals. So as you can see, it's very specific to which type of influencer I work with. I work only with impact-driven influencers because I only want to work with people who care about making an impact and is just not in it for themselves because they want to get famous or get free stuff for brands. So does that make sense to you guys? Let me know in the chat and let me know if that's you, because if it's you, it means I'm communicating to the right people and I'm attracting the right people. So you want to make sure you're attracting the right people as well. So you want to clearly call out your audience without being afraid that you're going to alienate other people who don't fit that. It's actually a good thing, because trying to attract everyone will attract no one, right? You really want to call out who you're talking to specifically, not just everyone. It's people who believe in that same core values or are into the things you post about, who are going to connect with you on that deeper level. And so that statement also includes our 3-step process, right? Build their brand, grow their following, and monetize. And how we do it: courses, coaching, and community. So it's clear what we provide. So as an influencer, what do you provide through your content, right? You provide value. And how do you do that? Through videos, through photos, through blog, podcasts. So write this all out so that you have your own statement. And so the statement also includes what we provide, right? I put support, encouragement, and inspiration, and why we do what we do, so that influencers can create positive change while trusting themselves and knowing their worth. So I added these 2 things recently because it's super important to me and our mission as a company. A lot of what I've seen after doing this for many, many years now is that influencers struggle with trusting themselves. Now, if you're like, oh my God, that's me, let me know in the chat. Honest moment again here. I think this is actually a lot of influencers in general, or entrepreneurs. You're looking for the answers elsewhere, and you think that someone can give you a magic pill or formula, but spoiler alert, there isn't one. You know, I always aim to guide my students, but I can never give you an answer, right? Because everyone is in a different situation. So whenever one asks me, like, should I do this? I never say yes or no. I always ask a question back. I say, well, do you want to do this? How would you feel if you did this? So I can help you try to get the answers that are right for you, and I can help guide you to an answer that works for you, but I can never tell you what the answer is for you, because there is no one right answer and one right solution for everyone. And so if you want to be a successful business person, successful entrepreneur, successful influencer, you should really want to work, or you should put time into working and trusting yourself, because really it definitely helps to have coaches and mentors to help you, because we do get in our own way, but that's just how we are as human beings, right? We have fears and egos, and sometimes we need support and guidance to help us take a step back or forward and look at things from a new perspective beyond those fears. So I also have mentors and coaches, but I also know that if I have a question and I need to make a decision, I am 100% responsible for that decision. I'm 100% responsible for my success. So once you take that responsibility, you will be successful. It might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen next year. You know, it might not happen for 10 years. But if you start trusting yourself and stop looking for answers from other people who don't know your audience and your brand and your mission, then I do believe that you will get to where you want to get to. So the second thing that I have in that influencer statement is I help influencers with knowing their worth. So this is a big one for a lot of influencers. This is why there are influencers out there with over 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 followers who are either not making any money or are not making a full-time income so that they could do this as their own thing and not have a job, because they don't know their worth and they're undercharging for their work. Let me know in the comments if this is you. Trust me, this was me in the very beginning of my influencer business. A lot of influencers are afraid to charge money for their services. And the sad thing is, content creation takes a lot of time and energy. We're not just snapping a photo and that's it. Like, here you go, here's a product. No, we are not just snapping a photo and it takes 2 seconds. We are the producer. We are the photographer. We're the editor. We're the hair and makeup artist. We're the stylist. We're the copywriter. We're basically an all-in-one production package. And we spend the time also growing our audience every day. Posting, doing engagement, all of that takes time, and this is a lot of work. And so many influencers are doing it for free or for trade. So if the product is under $50 and it takes you, a couple hours, you're actually losing a lot of money. You have to put that value in your time. And if you think about it, brands pay production companies thousands of dollars for this type of content, and you're also endorsing and putting your name behind their brand. And I get it, if you are just starting out, you're gonna do some stuff for trade and for free, but think about the value of your time, right? So, coming back to the influencer mission statement, I get super passionate about those two things. That is what I teach and coach about. And I'm super passionate about influencers learning how to do that. So it's super important to write out your influencer mission statement so it's clear to people if they should follow you or buy from you or partner with you. And it's going to take a lot of drafts. So just treat it like it's a working draft, working document that you're going to keep revisiting regularly and refining. So I want to close out with the last part because we did A and B of the ABCs of influence, and the C is for content, right? So that is the solid foundation you need to have a successful influencer business, is audience branding and content. So the influencer mission statement is just part of the branding. So C is for content. It's going to be a lot easier to create a content strategy when you have the other two parts of this formula, right? Audience and branding. You don't want to be putting out content aimlessly. I know I've been guilty of this, of just like posting whatever, hopefully it works, without knowing who your audience is and who you are as a brand. Let me know in the chat if you're doing this right now. It's totally fine. You didn't know any better. Maybe you weren't part of the Spark Society before yet, and that's totally fine. And remember, this is not something you do once and that's it. You keep testing, looking at the data, measuring results, and refining over and over again. If you think about like the media giants and TV channels, this is what they do. They analyze their audience, they refine their brand, and they create content, see what does well. Just like the movies, right? They first see how it does, and then if it does great, then it gets a sequel, right? And then they get more follow-up movies. Like Fast and the Furious does so well that there's like 20 movies, right? So this is what I want you to do this week. I want you to put some time aside to work on your brand and write out your influencer mission statement. Bonus points for everyone who's going to do the whole branding exercise and doing the core values, the brand story, and the influencer mission statement, because it will really help you make decisions about your brand, your audience, and your content, and it will help you attract the right audience and the right brands. So I will go ahead and sign off here right now, and then I'm going to look at some of the questions in the chat. Thank you so much for listening to The Spark Show, and I will see you in the next episode. So we have some questions in the chat. So yes, Tracy, if you're a member of the Spark Society, you will get access to the Instagram course that I have that will teach you how to look at Instagram analytics. So we do not cover Google Analytics in this program because that's more about your own website and your own blog. So if you're talking about Instagram analytics, we do go over that in the Instagram course. Amazing. So a lot of people are struggling with the things that I talked about, and yeah, so it is a work in progress, right? So many people are frustrated because they think like, oh, I'm gonna do this and after a month I should be an expert. Like, who's an expert after a month? Nobody. Who's an expert after 3 months? Nobody. It takes years, right? So if you tell yourself to chill and say, you know what? This is what I want to do. I'm 100% committed because I want to make a massive impact. Most of the people who are making a massive impact now have been doing it for 10, 20, 30, even 40 to 60 years, right? And I don't want to scare you, but maybe, you know, the short-term people will be like, I'm out because I don't want to do this. I'd rather, you know, work where I want to work right now and just like, you know, get a paycheck and that's it. So I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people who are like, I want to do something amazing with my life. Not that having a job and living a normal life is amazing, but the impact that you're going to make at that point of not putting yourself out there and having your own brand and building a community, that's a way bigger impact, right? If that is the impact you want to make, those are the people I want to talk to. Those are the people I want to coach. Those are the people I want to teach, because those people are going to be in it for the long run. And so you don't just look at your analytics once, right? You look at it, it's going to be every month for 10 to 30 years, right? And so if you are in this because of impact, you're going to have to be in it for a long haul, because impact doesn't happen in a day, it doesn't happen in a month, and in no way, it doesn't even happen in a year, right? You see the baby steps. You know, I am in 5 years of as an influencer and 3 years as a coach and mentor. So I am at a point where, you know, I'm able to make the revenue that I want. I can work when I want. I have that schedule. Am I at the goal or my big mission? No, I'm not. I think that's more of a 10-year goal. And that's okay, right? And I'm the most impatient person in the world. You guys can ask my husband. But I know that if this is the kind of life and mission and impact that I want to have, it's going to take years. It's going to take decades. And I'm in it for the decades. So I'm going to refine my brand every quarter. I'm going to do my content strategy. I'm going to do planning sessions. I'm going to keep getting coaching. I'm going to keep working on my mindset every single day. So you guys have to decide if this is what you want to do, because I'm going to tell you right now, it didn't happen for me in a year, right? Like I started getting paid brand deals. I started monetizing 6 months in. But if you want to, you know, make millions, a multi-million-dollar company, we're about to hit $1 million in revenue either late this year or early next year. So if that's the kind of life you want, it is completely possible. You just have to be willing to put in the time and effort, right? And I'm saying this to you to be real with you, right? We make the Spark Society very affordable, and we want everyone who's able to, who wants to invest, to start. But you know, you also need to be willing to put the time and commitment in. There's so many people who are like, I don't have time to do this, and that's totally fine. There could be other things that are more important to your life, but you should also know that it's going to take you longer, right? The more time you put into something, just like my plants, as you guys know, I'm a new plant lady. The more time you put into your plants, the more they're going to grow. If you neglect your plants or do it, you know, every other month or something, they're probably not going to survive, right? And so you want to make sure you ask yourself on a daily basis. That's what I do. If you want to join me on the mindset work, I totally invite you to do that. If you reconnect every day with what you want to do, it makes you move faster and more towards that goal. Okay? And so thank you, Christina. That's awesome. I love sharing that with you guys because I want you guys to also create your own communities. Again, one of my personal values is abundance. So I feel like there's more than enough for everyone. Everyone here and watching could definitely have a multi-million-dollar business. There's people less qualified than you, less, you know, motivated than you, less determined than you that are already making millions of dollars, so you can too. So time management is all about prioritization. So it's all about that. Christine, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. If you need any help, please email support@thespark.school. My team is amazing. We have about 3 to 4 people checking the customer support and helping me managing the group every single day. So for anything admin related, please send that to my team. And that's also the awesome thing about this, you guys. Like, it's great to do this on your own in the beginning, but when you're able to start building a team and hiring people that believe in your values, hiring has been one of the greatest joys I've been able to experience. I love my team right now. We just brought on another employee this week, and we have a team of pretty much all women of color, mostly, I think. Let me think. I think we're mostly women of color, and that is intentional because I'm all about promoting diversity, as you guys have seen on my Instagram and throughout everything. As you can see, the brand drives everything. And so please let me know in the comments and commit that you are going to commit, 2 hours to your brand this week. So declare it in the chat. Say, I'm committed to spending 2 hours this week on my brand. And I believe that like setting intentions is super powerful. And it's also September 1st. So hello, September. It's almost fall. I just felt like it get cold the last 2 mornings here in Minneapolis. So I'm like getting my jackets ready and starting to order parkas for the winter because that's going to be a new thing. So let me know if you're committed. Treasure says I'm committed to 2 hours to my brand this week, guys. Okay, so don't just say it. Put it into your calendar. So Merritt, brand is not just photos, right? Brand is what I just said about core values, brand story, and influencer mission statement. This is something where you have to kind of sit down, write it down. I'm a pen and paper kind of girl. I like to write things down. So commit, put it in your calendar, get a sitter if you have to, ask for help. This is an uninterrupted time, right? That you need to sit and like really spend time on your brand. Okay, thank you guys for joining me. I'll be looking at the comments later on. Let me know if you caught the replay, and if you did watch it later, not live, still commit and put it in there so I know who is committed. And I love seeing everyone's declarations. I will see you guys next time. Bye.